folks, Ethan here, also known as the Valid Transcendence Enlightener. Welcome back to the channel. If you guys seen before, welcome back. If you guys are new, welcome. So today, as your weather psychic, I have gotten more update news about the Super Tornado Outbreak for 2025 from my spirit guides. Whew. This actually got me surprised that I didn't really expect much from my spirit guides, but my guardian angels wanted me to know this urgently, and the results that I got from them were quite mind-blowing. So to start this off, a couple days ago, I was doing something on my laptop actually, and I was just doing something personal, and then all of a sudden, I was just getting this divine calling, which I recognize this feeling very well. I don't usually get this calling very often, but as soon as I got it, though, I was like, wait a second, this is my spirit guides are calling me? So I was like, you know what, I'll finish up what I was doing earlier, so I did that. And when I was meditating in bed, I was calling out to all spirit guides that I have, and I was wondering who is calling me, and turns out my guardian angels were calling me to give me an important message. One of the messages was something personal that I was doing, and the second thing that I got next was tornadoes, and I was like, what about tornadoes? And then they were showing me Super Tornado Outbreak, and I was like, are you guys talking about the tornado outbreak for this year? And they said yes. And I'm like, what's going on though? But then all of a sudden though, that my guardian angels were actually telling me a specific month that it was going to happen, but I was delaying it because I didn't really want to know right away yet. I just wanted to ask just to be sure of this. So I asked, are you all trying to show me when this is supposed to happen? And they said yes, and they actually decided to morph and manifest all these months. They were trying to scramble up, and then until like a brief moment later on, they showed me the specific month. And I was actually kind of questioned about this, but even though I shouldn't question my guardian angel's wisdom for this moment. So the thing they showed me was that this Super Tornado Outbreak for 2025, it's supposed to happen on December, which I'm like, that's such an unlikely month for tornado activity because that month is in a cold season. And the last time I've heard a tornado outbreak was back in 2021 that I predicted, like several years before that event occurred, which was the Quasi supercell that I predicted. And I didn't really ask of when it should happen on that month, but I was like, okay, I guess December is the month that this Super Tornado Outbreak will unfold in the United States. And I asked my guardian angels, can I ask you guys a couple more questions on this topic? And they said, yes, of course. So I was like, what are the probability chances of this happening? And surprisingly, I got a actual percentage number, which was kind of new for me because I have actually never gotten a percentage number in my channeling messages. So the number percentage is actually 7%, which I was like, oh, that's quite something. Now, earlier before this message from my guardian angels, I asked this topic before though, and this was actually a couple weeks before this, and I was like, is this Super Tornado Outbreak supposed to happen for 2025? And they said yes, and the problem is that right now it is summer as I'm recording this. The probability chances were very confusing because Right now, though, at the day of this recording, it might be later on at some point for you guys, if you guys are watching this later. They said it's it's supposed to come by, but I asked if it's supposed to surpass the 2011 Super Tornado Outbreak, and they said yes and no, which got me confused in my mind. I was like, wait, if it's yes and no, I'm kind of confused on this part. So they explained a bit more on the. They were telling me a hint about the moisture, which was the one moist air that is the fuel for severe weather, essentially. And I was like, wait a second, it's hotter than average in in the central region of the U.S., including the eastern part of the U.S. So what got me thinking is that I believe that with all this amount of hot air that we're getting, though, it's harder to determine if the outbreak was going to occur. So it was a 50-50 chance if I asked that question, and they said yes, it's 50-50, so it's kind of hard to determine how everything would unfold until much later. Fast forwarding up to this point, I was like, okay, that's quite something, though. I did not think it was going to be doing that. And the last question is, I asked my guardian angels, is this probability chance going to decrease at any point later on in the future? And they said no, it's going to increase later on, the closer we get to December. I was like, okay, that's not good. And this will surpass the 2011 Super Tornado Outbreak, and that outbreak is still famous to this day. And I don't know how deadly it's going to be, but it's going to be an intense tornado outbreak that we ever had for like 14 years so far. And the thing you guys might be wondering, where would this outbreak take place? And I haven't asked my question to my guardian angels about this because I don't think I need to know about that, but I believe I have an idea of where this could occur in the United States. So my wild guess for the locations that are going to be affected, it's going to have to be Dixie Alley, as always. Now, if you guys are not familiar with Dixie Alley, that's just another like sub-term for Tornado Alley in a different part of the region. So Tornado Alley involves like Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, things like that. And Dixie Alley, however, it involves the southern states more likely. So Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee's, those are the state borders that I believe that will potentially happen. That's just my wild guess for you guys. I don't really know, but ever since that we've had more tornado activity, more in the east so far, I believe that this super tornado outbreak will pretty much invade Dixie Alley, and that was the place where we had the 2011 Super Tornado Outbreak, and that was just catastrophic. So I don't know how many EF4s or how many EF5s we're gonna have, but all I can say is we're gonna have an extreme tornado outbreak that we haven't had for quite a long time. Anyway, hopefully this was very informative to you guys. I don't think I'm gonna get more predictions, but I might be wrong on this part. But man, I just don't know how deadly this is gonna be. But to anyone that lives in Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, and Alabama, just be ready, because I don't know what the conditions are down there. In fact, earlier on, like a couple weeks ago, when I was asking about this topic earlier, my family member that I know of told me that he lives in Tennessee, I believe, and there is a lot of warm, moist air in that area, and that area is full of warm moist air, and I believe some other areas too. So, and the funny, or I would say the weird thing is that they haven't gotten that much severe weather, and that's kind of a bit of an issue because if that cold air dry line dives south, further beyond my state or down below in Kansas, or even much lower than that in the south, that will create severe weather, and that could potentially create supercells to produce tornadoes. But right now, we haven't had that much severe weather that crazy. These severe weather events that we had in the past weeks, they're still severe, but not as crazy as you guys would think. So yeah, that's all for you guys. Just be prepared for what's gonna happen though. I will make an update video for you guys about this, but for right now though, just stay alert on any severe weather potential. Oh, love my to all of you guys, and as always, stay strong out there. I'll see you guys next time.